Okay, looking at volume today with the metric system. Comparing the metric system to the English system, which do you think is larger? A liter, or a gallon? If you guessed a gallon, you were correct. Okay, 1 gallon is equal to 3.79 liters. Okay, letter B, a liter or a quart, which is larger? 1 liter is larger than 1 quart. 1 quart is equal to 9.46 liters. Very close, but not the same. And letter C, a millimeter or a fluid ounce, which is larger? A fluid ounce is much larger than a milliliter. A fluid ounce is equal to 29.573 milliliters. All right, the metric system with volume. Volume is the amount of space an object takes up. The basic unit for volume in the metric system is the liter. Okay, and it's represented by the capital L or sometimes a lowercase l. 1 liter is equal to 1 cubic decimeter. So this is a cubic decimeter. That's equal to 1 liter. 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. And 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter, or 1 gram. Okay? Okay, so looking at this, which is larger, 1 liter or 1,500 milliliters? I hope you guessed 1,500 milliliters. That's correct. And the answer was right there. Letter B, 200 milliliters or 1.2 liters. It was 1.2 liters because once again, 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. And number 3, 12 cubic centimeters or 1.2 milliliters. I'm sorry, yeah. It is 12 cubic centimeters. So we said here that 1 millimeter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. So if you've only got 1.2 milliliters, that's way smaller than 12 centimeters because that would be equal to 12 milliliters. When you measure volume using a liquid, you're going to be using a graduated cylinder. To find the volume of liquids and objects, okay, you're always using a graduated cylinder when we're dealing with volume and it's a liquid. When you read the graduated cylinder, the measurement must be based on the meniscus. Okay, the meniscus is the curve right here. Okay, when using a real cylinder, make sure that you are at eye level. Okay, so get down and look at it at eye level with the liquid that's inside. Okay, so what is the volume of this water in this cylinder? Okay, if we look at it, we start at 40 here, and it looks like it counts by ones because there's 10 lines up to 50. So we've got 40, 41, 2, 43 milliliters is the correct answer. 43 milliliters. And more explanation on what the meniscus is. It's a concave which occurs when the molecules of the liquid are attracted to the container. Okay, you can see it here. Glass attracts the water on the sides. So that's why the meniscus occurs. Okay, get a little bit more practice with measuring those liquids. Okay, what is the volume of each cylinder? Make sure you pay attention to the scales for each cylinder. Okay, I'll go ahead and pause the video, and answer what you think the volume of cylinder A, B, and C are. So pause the video now. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go over the answers. Okay, looking at cylinder A. This cylinder looks like it counts by ones because it goes from 50 to 60 and there's 10 lines in between. So our volume for cylinder A is 52 milliliters. That was the correct answer. For cylinder B, This cylinder counts by fives, so we have 4 lines in between. 35 is here, 36, 37. So for cylinder B, our volume is 37 milliliters. For cylinder C, this one's a little different because it counts by fives, but then they have this half mark here in the middle. Okay, so truly this would be 22 and a half, that line. So I estimated that it's just slightly above that, so I said that was 23 milliliters. If you had something close to that, that would be correct. All right, 23 milliliters for cylinder C. Okay, measuring volume of a solid. When we measure a volume of a solid, we can use the formula length times width times height. Okay, anytime that it is a rectangular prism, like this one, okay, a 3-dimensional figure. Okay, on this figure, the length is 8 centimeters. This is the length. The width is 10 centimeters, and the height is 9 centimeters. Okay, so length is 8, width is 10, height is 9. Okay, then you will you will put in the numbers to be multiplied. So length times width times height, so 8 times 10 times 9. Okay, go ahead and pause the video so that you can solve and for the answer. What 8 times 10 times 9 is equal to? Okay, the answer should have been 720 centimeters cubed for your volume of that rectangular prism. 720 centimeters cubed. Okay, going over to the displacement method. Every time that you go to find the volume of an object, it may not be a rectangular prism. Okay, rectangular prisms like this one, but you might have to find the shape or the volume of an irregular shaped object, okay, like this one in this graduated cylinder, okay? I believe that this is a rock. Okay, rocks are not always rectangular prisms, so we have to have another way to find the volume of objects that are not shaped that way, okay? To find the volume of an irregular shaped object, we use the water displacement method, okay? And how you do that is you take the volume of the cylinder to begin with, that's your initial volume, okay? That's V1, the volume before you put the object in. Okay, so the initial volume on this graduated cylinder is 200 milliliters. Okay, so you would write that on that line, 200 milliliters. Then you need to find the final volume after you add the object in. So we put the object in, and that's called the V2, okay, the volume, the second volume. On this graduated cylinder, it counts by 20s. So 200, 20, 40, 60. So this is 260. That is our final volume. So we'll write this on this line. Okay, then to calculate your answer, to find the volume of the object, you must take your final volume minus your initial volume. So we're taking 260 minus 200. Okay, so that should leave us with 60 centimeters cubed. Okay, now we're dealing with liquids, but the volume that we're trying to find is of a solid. So the volume must be, the units must be in cubic centimeters, okay, because we're dealing with a solid. And the last one is density. Okay, density we're going to focus more on chapter 8. But just so you make sure that you understand what it is and the equation, density is the amount of mass in a given volume. Okay, so if something's got more, it's heavier, but it's the same size as something else, it is more dense. Okay, and then the equation to calculate density is mass divided by the volume. okay, which are two measurements that we're dealing with in this chapter. Okay, and we will get further into this on chapter 8.